All right, everybody, welcome on in to the NYMD podcast. Kevin Hurt, Brian Sherrod here. We got a special guest today from Sports Illustrated, also known as the fantasy exec, Corey Parson. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Kev? What's going on, Brian? Definitely good to chop it up. It's been a good while, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think I still may have the most wins in Empire history, but not the champion. The elusive championship has not come yet.
Yeah, for all of you who may not know, we're all in a fantasy football league. We've been together for like 15 years now, I guess.
Yeah,
it's been a minute. And out of everybody on the screen, one of us who's named a fan exec has not won a fantasy title, which is weird because you need to actually earn your name, and that hasn't seemed to happen as of yet. But you're close. You'll catch up to me one day.
No, listen, I don't know. It's the Empire is tough. You know what I'm saying? Once you get into playing a certain style, you know what I'm saying? It's just be like now, you go back to the original way and it's like more difficult to navigate. So, but listen, I don't know. I'm not washed up yet. I think I still got one more good run in me.
Yeah, so you have one more good run for last place. You're 100%. So, but thank you, everybody. We're on YouTube, of course. You can subscribe to us on YouTube and pick like. We're also on all your podcast mediums. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, and Stitcher apps. So everywhere you have a podcast, NYMD podcast is there for you. So I guess we got to start off with this the draft. Finally, the draft from everybody's basement in the house. We had NFL draft start Thursday. Go ahead, B.
No, I was gonna say, and we better enjoy it while it lasts because this might be the last real sports we get for a while.
Probably.
It looks like the next thing we could possibly have. I don't know how much golf you guys are into.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think the PGA Tour is going to start up in June. I wouldn't be surprised if we get baseball by Memorial Day, and then with the NBA draft would be in July. I think the NBA season is going to get canceled.
And we also getting the Tiger and Phil special match.
Oh yeah, with Tom Brady and
Peyton Manning or something.
Yeah, and Peyton.
Yeah,
I think it's Peyton and Tiger and Phil and Tom, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but hey, I watch it because at this point, I watch rugby. This is the time where they need to have cricket on TV somewhere. I'd watch cricket.
Look, you had me at Tiger Woods, so I'll watch Tiger
King, Tiger Woods, is whatever.
You watch table tennis?
Nah.
I'll see highlights. I watch the highlights.
Oh, okay. So
but table tennis is wild, though.
Nobody's a table tennis guru here, huh?
I'm not sure if that's a title anybody has.
The last time I watched table tennis was when I watched Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. It might be the Olympics, though, because those dudes, they're talented. They're definitely talented. But all right, so draft Thursday, a little bit different. Everything's virtual. Everybody's in their houses. Top moments from the draft. B, go ahead.
Well, first of all, before we get into the actual picks, how do y'all like the broadcast? How do you like the setup?
I'm glad you mentioned that. I think they did an excellent job with ESPN and the NFL Network. I didn't mind. I think Louis Riddick is excellent. I think the kid Daniel Jeremiah is very good also. I miss Rich Eisen being there. I think Rich Eisen as well. That part of it was cool, but it seems as if in order to make it to the NFL, your parents have to be either Olympians or dead. I thought they beat the obituaries into the ground. I'm just like, everything was like, his mother was struck by lightning, you know what I'm saying, when he was 2 years old. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean?
Well,
that part I didn't like.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because especially in the second round yesterday.
It was the second round mostly. Yeah, it was a lot.
Because even Leslie, she was watching it with me, and she was even like, it seemed like every other person, either their grandfather died, their father died at a young age. I mean, it was crazy, man. I was like, man, I definitely noticed that, and I was like, man, I don't want to hear any more backstories anymore.
Yes, it's I think a little bit exploitative. I thought it was very uncomfortable with T. Higgins on the player card. At the bottom of the player card, it said his mother beat a 16-year drug addiction. Like it was a stat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah, I saw that, yo. Yeah.
Yeah,
that part of it I didn't like, but I thought they did a good job. If the joint didn't get hacked, I thought Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, I thought what they did was clever. Last night, Roger Goodell ended up having to sit down. You know what I'm saying? So
I remember story times with Uncle Raj. You know what I'm saying?
It was cool. It was like I've seen people say this morning that they should always do the draft like that. I don't know if we're going to get that far, but I definitely thought that it was they got through it and people needed it, so that was good.
Yeah, I just like the peek behind the curtain. You know what I'm saying? I like seeing Mike Zimmer's house. He's got his deer in the background, and you see all the different coaches. Bill Belichick is like he didn't care. He had like 2 laptops.
Yo, I had to say though, in all honesty, I think that's Bill being Bill. Yo, he saw Jerry Jones on the yacht. He saw and we'll talk about that, Corey, in a second. He saw your boy Kingsbury chilling out there with the fire in the background. This dude in his old school kitchen with just 2 monitors and a dog. That's it.
That's
the dog was in his chair. I was
like, he's like, I don't need 12 screens to draft great. I know what I'm doing. All I need is 2 laptops and a cup of coffee. These dudes out here with monitors and screens and TVs and every family members. This dude's just chilling, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So speaking of yachts, your boy chilling on the yacht.
That's right. It was Dallas Cowboy football. It's $200 million yacht. That's a Corona-proof yacht. That's a COVID-proof yacht. And Jerry Jones got out there. You know what I'm saying? In Big D. And I don't think you should be hating on that, Daniel Snyder. But listen. Jerry did it big pimping style, and then we went out and got the best wide receiver in the draft.
I gotta admit, you know what? I know everybody was screaming Dallas needs defense, but man, with CeeDee Lamb slips to what 17?
You gotta take him.
You gotta take him, man. And I know you just paid Amari Cooper. I know you got Gallup. Going the other side of Amari, but man, I thought it was a great pick, man.
You put him in that slot. He could play that Randall Cobb role in Mike McCarthy's offense. It's going to be it's good. They're a very good offensive football team on paper. We just gotta hopefully we'll see what it looks like without Jason Garrett there, because I'm not going to be overly optimistic about the weapons on the Dallas Cowboys. I've been doing that for years, and it's not been any championships out of those weapons.
That makes me so sad.
But I know you're not going to. You can't ever talk championships.
I mean, we have our 3. I'm fine with it.
Hey, Willie Taggart.
Okay, I have our 3, but you're just as irrelevant as every other organization that hasn't done anything recently. It's just y'all just want to be. You're the marketing gurus. That's all it is. You guys, Jerry has marketing down pat, and I'll give him that. But every year, all this talk, y'all couldn't even win a division last year. And not making the playoffs. But that being said, having CeeDee Lamb's great pick. And of course, definitely our condolences and thoughts and prayers out to Dak and his family. It's such a sad situation for that to happen. Yeah. So hopefully he'll come back. And I know he's still underneath that. What he signed? Did he sign it yet? By the way.
Nah, he's on the Kirk Cousins status right now. He's got that big expensive franchise.
Yeah,
it got to July 15th to get him a deal. I think a deal does get done, but if I'm Dak, I don't mind playing on the franchise.
No, you make more money, but you have power.
Yeah, exactly. But you also you make more money. Like you said, but something could happen and you can get hurt, and and then everything is out the window. But you look how Kirk Cousins, he's a quarterback. Look how Kirk Cousins pimped it. Kirk Cousins almost made $200 million, 2 years on the franchise tag, then signs the big deal. Yeah. Kirk Cousins got paid. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Dak, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, and Dak has a great offensive line. Yeah. So, they hand the ball off a lot. He's got great weapons. So that dude should just do the franchise tag. If I was him, I'd do it. But, we'll definitely see about that. So, but we'll go. CeeDee Lamb's a good pick. Let's go to the number 1 pick, of course. Joe Exotic going first to the Bengals. I mean, everybody saw that coming. Yeah. Chase Young staying home, basically. He's from the DC area, grew up a Washington fan. He went to Washington. let's move on to some surprises. What was the first surprise that hit you guys?
Well, I want to stick with the Dolphins because I wasn't sure they were going to take Tua. I think they were trying to throw people off the whole time. Rumor had it they were really trying to trade up to number 1 to get Joe Burrow, but Cincinnati wasn't having it. So I think they tried to throw a lot of people off. How did y'all like that pick? Tua scares me. Those injuries, man,
I think it was the process. Listen, everybody, when the season started last year, when they started getting rid of their pieces, everybody knew they were making the play for Tua. You know what I'm saying? And they tanked. They made the play for Tua. They got themselves in position to get Tua. Now you're drafting a dude that's 6 feet tall. He's a young man with an incredible injury history already. So it's kind of troublesome right there. But if he ends up being the best player in this draft when it's all said and done, I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
You got it. His upside, I think, is higher than anybody else's. That's the whole thing. And if you and they believe me, they definitely drafted some tackles, some guards like yesterday to protect him. So I think they're gonna do a good job. I like Flores. I like the infrastructure that they're building there. And I honestly would have went with him. He's way better when he's healthy, of course, than Herbert. I don't think Herbert fit their system. I think Herbert's fine in San Diego. But, I think Tua was the guy that they needed to go after.
Yeah.
So that really wasn't a surprise.
It wasn't a surprise, but I was curious to see if they were going.
Yeah, but that was the turning point. Like, what's going to happen? Right. We're sitting there like, all right, what's going to happen at 3? Of course, Okuda went to 3. What's going to happen at 4? All those things kind of fell into place. So I guess getting to that 5th pick, that Dolphins pick, we're saying is it going to be a curveball here, and they came up with Tua. So
yeah.
But the first thing to me was the Packers trading up.
Yeah.
And then I know A-Raj, my favorite player in the NFL, did reach out to Jordan Love, said, congratulations, whatever. I know Brett Favre wouldn't have done that. But, man, you were 13-3 last year. You got beat by a team.
It's a flaccid 13-3 last year.
They were still 13-3. Did they? I mean, they made the playoffs at least, right? I mean,
yeah, they did. It was a flaccid 13-3. We're talking about Green Bay. Go ahead with your.
We are. I mean, a team that usually beats you guys every year. So 13-3, they make it, get some playoffs, and they get ran on like nobody's business. So at that pick, why don't you get a D tackle, something defensive? Because really, how many attempts did Garoppolo have? 2.5?
No, it was. If here's the problem, the quarterback play is going down. It's quietly trending downwards, and everybody is saying it's because they don't have any weapons. But Russell Wilson don't got no weapons. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the quarterback that don't have no weapons. So I don't want to hear that Devontae Adams, one of the best wide receivers in the league, is not a weapon. You got Aaron Jones behind you, one of the best backs in the league. But the play is going down, maybe not on the field with the wins and losses, but statistically, his yards per attempt are dropping. That's the first time that the quarterback is starting to fall off. So yes, it's interesting pick because you could have got the kid later, but they wanted the quarterback on the first round. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
I mean, what? He's 36 now, A-Raj?
Yep. Got
a couple years left, maybe 2 or 3. Of course, he's my favorite player. Has his play gone down? Yeah, I would say his play has gone down. Is he still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Yes. But why don't you try to build up the team to make a run? Like you said, Jordan Love could have been had later on in the draft. If that's the case, you traded up for him. You didn't even have to trade up. I don't think.
They want to send a message to Aaron Rodgers that the clock is ticking.
If they want to send a message to the guy who can lead you to the Super Bowl, I just think that's a stupid idea.
I don't. I think that. Like I said, I think Minnesota's better than them. I don't think that they're going to be the champions of the North this year.
See, I don't believe in Minnesota's quarterback from personal experience.
But listen, nobody had a better November than Kirk Cousins last year. Kirk Cousins was on the lower MVP candidate last year.
Oh yeah, that November's great. He
played very good last year.
Not January.
That's true.
Even though they did, for some reason, they always seem to beat the Saints somehow.
Yeah, I was about to say he did win. So
Yeah, I mean, but they played the Saints. I think that's just going to happen anyway when they play the Saints for some reason.
I mean,
but
you look at they took advantage of a weak schedule last year. If you're Cousins, when you get them in your building on Monday Night Football, you have to win that game. You can't get blown out and pushed around like they did. But I think Minnesota is better. I think a couple of teams in the NFC are better. I think we'll start to see them trending in the wrong direction this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, because we'll get into the documentary, but it's always a time to blow up a team.
Yeah.
We'll just see if this is the right time for them. But still, trading on the way up to get them, I think that was the first surprise. So last night we got round. So that was the only thing for the first round you guys got. Oh, no, Brian, let's talk about your team's pick.
Yeah, so the Ravens drafted Patrick Queen. They have weakness at linebacker, so that was no surprise. I think it was a bigger surprise that he slipped all the way down to 28. There were two linebackers taken before him, Kenneth Murray, which I think a lot of people, saw that coming, and also Jordan Brooks, who got picked right before the Ravens by Seattle. So the Ravens want to become faster. They want to be able to. They don't have a speedy sideline to sideline guy, so he checks all those boxes, and they were happy to get him without having to trade up to get him.
I like the Queen pick. He looks like a Raven. Look at that style of player right there. Obviously, Baltimore always does very good when it comes to sniffing out prospects in the NFL draft. I think the DeAndre Swift not going in the first round was a little bit of a surprise. Edwards-Helaire, they said they likened him to Brian Westbrook, and Andy Reid said he was better than Brian Westbrook. So that was interesting to hear that right there, in his opinion. So I think those were the major ones. It was interesting to see Xavier McKinney and Trayvon Diggs fall out the first round. Yes. So Alabama didn't dominate that first round like they normally do. I think LSU may have had more players in the first round than Alabama actually. But other than those little things right there, and I was obviously T. Higgins. I don't see what happened with Higgins. I mean, he went with the first pick of the second round, but I didn't see Higgins dropping out the first round altogether either.
Well, one of the things I was convinced of is that I thought the Dolphins, I was convinced they were going to take a running back with that third pick.
I thought so too.
I thought it was going to be DeAndre Swift. They had the worst rushing attack, I think, in the league last year. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick was their leading rusher last year. You know what I mean? Wow. So I was convinced they were going to take a running back. I was like at 26, where I think they were originally at. They're going to have a choice of whichever running back they want. I thought they were going to take DeAndre Swift, but Detroit scooped them up with their first pick in the second round. And the Dolphins, I don't think they have taken a running back yet.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm looking that up right now. I want to see if they have. I don't believe they've drafted the running back. So if they haven't, that means the running backs on their roster right now is that stiff they had last year, that ham sandwich they had last year.
They did sign Jordan Howard, and
they did sign Jordan Howard. They got two stiffs. They got that guy and Jordan Howard. But you know what? If they don't have a back right now, my guess, Devontae Freeman would return home. He's a Miami guy. You know what I'm saying? He's on the wrong side of 30 at this point. The concussions have starting to pile up. I believe the Falcons did cut him, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was released.
Yeah, because they got Gurley now.
Yeah, and which they'll probably end up releasing him next year. I do think I think Freeman could be in Miami. But if you're running backs of Freeman and Howard, I'm just like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, Hurt, when we did our mock draft, you had that Dolphins pick, and who did you give them? You remember?
J.K. Dobbins.
Who surprisingly went to who?
Went to Baltimore.
Went to the Ravens in 55 in the second round. I did not see that coming. I did not see it coming. But I think it's great. What'd you say, Court?
That's a good pick. A lot of speed on that football team, with Hollywood Brown and Lamar. Obviously, running backs behind Lamar, that kind of talent, it blows open big holes because you don't know where they're going with the football. Can he, from a fantasy point perspective, can he be? I mean, he's got to share the football with old boy. That's going to take away from his game, especially as a rookie, because Mark Ingram can block. So I don't know what he is fantasy wise as a rookie. I think he's exciting, but he's one of the type of cats that I think he's one of those type of cats that I think are like a Miles Sanders. Like he can come on later in the year. Like you hold him on your bench all year, and then by week 10 you can just roll him out there. You know what I'm saying? You have a good stranglehold on the offense. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. Just 24 hours later.
Well, it's funny because this pick reminds me of what the Ravens did 12 years ago when they drafted Ray Rice. I think he was number 52 in the second round. At the time, it was kind of an odd pick because the Ravens had Willis McGahee. They also had LeBron McClain. So basically what they did is they had that three-headed monster that year where they just split time with all three of them, and they had that three-headed rushing attack. And I think that's going to kind of what they're going to do because Mark Ingram, he has 2 more years left on his deal. He's over 30, Gus Edwards, this is more likely going to be his last year on the Ravens. So I think it was a down the road pick. It might not pay dividends, this year, but down the road
Would you put him on the would you draft him in fantasy?
No. The only way I would draft him is for like keepers. You know what I mean?
Would you draft him for fantasy? Dobbins?
No.
Really?
No. I got one Raven on the team. I have a limit to how many I should have, and it's a one Raven policy.
Okay. Yeah, he was an MVP, so
Yeah, well, I got the right one.
Yeah. Any picks y'all like in the second round?
Who's the running back Washington drafted from Memphis?
Well, he's like a wide. Well, he's a little bit of everything. Gibson.
Antoine Gibson, is that his name?
He is. I gotta get his name right first. Hold on a second.
Where was he drafted?
3rd round. We got it is. Wait 1 second. Yeah, Antonio Gibson. Memphis. He's listed as a wide receiver running back, but he played both for Memphis, and you know how that Memphis offense is. He's well. We definitely need offensive help. I honestly
last year.
Say again.
I thought Geis was coming around last year,
but he got hurt again. He got hurt again, but we can still. But the thing is, Gibson can also play wide receiver.
I like Scary Terry.
So
I think
to McLaren. I love McLaren, but
y'all can win 7 games this year.
Say again.
I think y'all can win 6-7 games this year.
I don't see that.
No, I do. For real. I think the lines, both sides of the football, the lines are decent. Quarterback is the major issue.
That's the problem. What are they going to do? Who's going to be the quarterback?
So wait a minute. So you don't have any faith in Haskins at all?
I have faith in Ron Rivera. I know he's going to focus the team around defense, but Haskins hasn't. Again, I remember who the head coach was last year. This is my biggest issue with that team is the owner.
Remember he was smoking weed with the young girl.
My issue with that team is the owner. Can he get his nose out of everybody's business and leave it alone? If he can't, because Haskins was his boy, then there's going to be problems. Because I don't care how good or whatever. Haskins, I think, has the ability to be good. I don't see him as great. But who's the backup? What are we going to do?
Go get Cam. Go get Cam.
That's what I was thinking. Where's Cam going to go? How many teams? How many teams fit Cam right now?
I keep saying Jacksonville's going to take a shot on Cam.
Yeah, I mean Jacksonville's there, but someone's going to get him soon, right? And the only place I see would be Jacksonville or Washington. If you're Ron Rivera, you know what you get with Cam if he's healthy, and you don't know what you get with this second year quarterback that the previous management did not want to have. So how developed is he?
Where's Alex Smith at? Is Alex Smith done?
He's trying to come back. He wants to come back. He's training. Luckily, luckily his got past all his surgeries and all the scary infections and stuff that he had. They actually have a 30 for 30 for him tomorrow, I think, on ESPN.
Oh, really?
Yeah. About how his comeback and everything that he went through. And I mean, it's some scary stuff. So
I heard, obviously the injury happens, and the injury and it's a story then. But it was like 3 or 4 months later, and they was like, son is like still like in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Or like, like he just left the hospital like last week. And I'm like, what? And I heard about the infections and stuff like that. So listen, I've never been an Alex Smith guy, but I've always, wanted Alex Smith to do well. He's not an asshole. Excuse me.
No, he's exactly what I was, can't take him anywhere. So, but that's just the whole, he's a good leader. He's always been a leader. Even in that Aaron Rodgers draft, Aaron Rodgers was better than him, and Alex Smith is the one that went number 1, right?
Yep.
And every place Alex Smith went, he was replaced by somebody, whether it was Kaepernick or whether it was Mahomes. But I don't think
or Haskins.
Yeah, well, no, he wasn't replaced by Haskins. Though. See, he was already kind of hurt. Haskins is not replacing. I just don't believe in Haskins because I believe he was another one of those Daniel Snyder specials, and you need people, which I think they have in place now, who say, no, this isn't the right pick. We're going to pick what's best for the team, not what you want. So, we'll see. We'll see. Right.
All right. Yeah. So I have a question about this draft. One thing, like the Raiders, one thing I noticed is with their first 4 picks, they picked 3 wide receivers.
Because they're the Raiders.
Well, you look at the situation they were in last season. I believe their leading wide receiver was Tyrell Williams. He may have caught 50 passes. Their leading pass catcher was a tight end. Their second leading pass catcher might have been a running back. They had the young boy. What's the young boy that was in Clemson for 15 years? Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
So basically, Hunter Renfrow, you have Renfrow, Waller, and Tyrell Williams, I believe, was out there. The couple of weeks that he was healthy. But I think Ruggs to the Raiders was one of the slam dunks of the draft. I'm saying obviously that's that Al Davis, that need for speed. Ruggs is a great wide receiver. I think Judy's better. I didn't expect him to draft 3, but it was definitely a position of need for them.
Okay.
Listen, man, Mayock and Chucky were happy. So
yeah.
I mean, they also got a cornerback from Arnett from Ohio State,
which was a reach.
Yeah, and then they got a safety from Clemson around 3 too. So because you're going to need all that help from all those wide receivers between Denver and and with the Chiefs and everybody else.
Came up with their wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy.
Are there any particular teams that y'all like so far?
Who do you think had the best first round draft? Like, who do you think had a solid first round?
Well, I mean, I got to give it to the Dolphins just for the nature of the fact that they had 3 picks. They got their franchise quarterback. They got their tackle to protect Tua. They got a nickel corner as well. So, I mean, you get 3 picks in the first round, man.
You look at the first 2 days, and the Lions are not doing a bad job either. With Derek Brown, with Big D. No, the Lions should have drafted.
No, they got
Kuda and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
I think the Lions should have took Derek Brown. I don't think you take a cornerback at 3. It's like a Deion Sanders type, generational type corner that can play offense and special teams and stuff like that. I think the Cowboys have done well so far with Lamb and Diggs. Diggs was a player they were considering in the first round. He was there for them in the second. The Panthers look like they're starting to put it together on defense. They get Yatir Matos and Big D Brown. So yeah, we're starting to, everybody except for Washington is doing all right.
Well, we only had 2 picks so far. So I mean, when everybody decides to trade away everything and you don't set up anything for the future, this is what happens. But I think we hit a slam dunk with the second pick in the draft. Yeah. I think that's a no-brainer. I feel like he was the best player in the draft. So they got lucky with that. They have I believe in Ron Rivera. I do believe in Ron Rivera because that team has been rudderless ever since Daniel Snyder took over. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the first time since Marty Schottenheimer, who finished 8-8, then got fired, since the team has actually a direct leadership.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But Daniel Snyder just needs to stay out of that. But all in all, like I said, I agree with Miami having a good draft. I do like their picks, and like I said, they've done a good job so far. I was now second round. I expected Jalen Hurts to go in the second round. Didn't expect him to go to Philly.
Yeah, that shocked me.
I was happy about that though, in a way, because whatever doesn't really help Philly right away, I'm fine with. But I was a little bit shocked.
So let's talk about the prospect first. I'm not the biggest fan of prospect. He got benched. He's lost to Jake Fromm, number one. Then he was benched. He did. He lost to Jake Fromm in the SEC championship.
Oh, you mean like lost the game?
Lost the game, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like he played against him on the field. They were just quarterbacks in different teams.
Who was most talented team?
Well, Alabama, of course. But no, but forget that. Forget losing to Jake Fromm. The dude got benched in the national championship game at halftime.
So you lose that game. Then the next game you get benched at halftime for,
for Tua.
Kid hadn't thrown a pass all year.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see the kind of player Tua is. Then you go to Oklahoma and you get in a quarterback friendly system. You know what I'm saying? So you're not proving me nothing there by going to Oklahoma and throwing a bunch of touchdown passes and stuff like that. So I don't think that the prospect is that good, number one. Well, now, as far as what Philadelphia did,
Kyler Murray's doing okay.
I mean,
a QB friendly system.
He's got his coach. He's got the coach. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying. I mean, well, former coach of Texas Tech, but I mean, it's still a lot of these dudes. Mahomes came from a quarterback friendly system.
No doubt.
It just depends. I just think Jalen Hurts is a competitor. You got someone who's tough, but what are you using him for? That's my whole thing. What does he do for the team today? I think they reached in the first round for Rager.
They did. Yeah.
I think that was there's other wide receivers who are better than him. Personally,
Mims kind of dropped, but
Mims dropped really far.
Yeah, he almost dropped to the third round. Because you got a kid from Arizona State and you got T. Higgins. Those two right there, you would feel pretty good about them going.
So I just think they reached on their first couple picks, and I don't, again, Jalen Hurts. I know you're going to need a backup, but Jalen Hurts. There's so many other quarterbacks that are still there anyway.
Exactly. You could have got Jake Fromm in the fourth. You could have got Jake Fromm today if you wanted.
Yeah. So just reaching for Hurts, reaching for a Rager, I don't agree with.
I don't think they like Carson Wentz. I don't think they trust him. They don't trust him to stay healthy, and I think that they're like, maybe we shouldn't have gave this dude a $100 million extension. Yeah, well, because he hasn't been healthy. He hasn't met that year. I think I actually had him on the fantasy team. That one year he was supposed to win MVP. When he dove into the end zone, got hurt against the Rams. That was their year. That was, they end up winning the Super Bowl anyway. But he didn't win the Super Bowl.
No, they. I said they.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he was there. He was on the sidelines.
That full magic carried him that year. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This guy breaks down throughout the season. But do you have to spend up for a number two like that? And if so, go get Jameis.
Oh,
people don't like that. But why not?
Listen,
5,000 yards last year.
Listen, if anybody on here loves Jameis, being a Florida State guy, it'd be me. But man, can you imagine Jameis with that press in Philly? With interceptions? That's not going to work out, dog. That's not going to work out. Oh yeah, Rudy, you missed the Dolphins talk. Oh my gosh.
What up, Rudy? Yeah, the Dolphins talk.
Yeah, we've had way too much. I said that we all agree that the Dolphins basically had the best draft in the first round. So and they drafted some guards. But all right.
And the crazy thing is they've made like 6 picks and they have like 8 or 9 more today. It's crazy.
Yeah, they have a ton.
Yeah.
And it starts at noon, right? Round 4 starts at noon today.
35 minutes.
Actually, honestly, I like the second and third rounds better than I like the first round. I still think that first round took way too long. And yesterday, they were pick after pick after pick.
Rolling yesterday.
Yeah, and I was like, this is how it should have been. I was excited. I was sitting there. We could watch 2 whole rounds. That first day, everybody's just taking. Listen, you got the first pick of the draft. Don't take all 900 minutes. Right. That's my whole thing.
Back in the day, they used to like the first number 1 pick. They would sign them before the draft even happened. Back in the day, you don't see that much no more. But that used to happen a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that.
I believe we had Troy wrapped up before the draft happened.
Yeah, all right, nobody cares. Let's move on.
Oh, the 3 championships later.
Yep, and the last ones too. That's so good. So long ago. Like 95 or something. All right, go ahead, B.
I have a question for y'all today. Is New England going to draft the QB today?
I don't believe. I think they might, but if I'm them, I mean, I like the guy they got. I think the guy they got is a. I think the guy they got can play, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I'm a big Jarrett Stidham supporter.
Okay.
I don't think they have to. Bill knows what he has, or feels like he knows what he has.
Yeah.
He's just going to build the best team around him. I mean, they got that safety from D2 school,
Lenore Ryan.
Yeah, and he's just been going on from there, man. I'm telling you, the dude has everything set. He's got 2 laptops, the dog, cup of coffee. That's all he needs. So he has everything ready. So it's pretty cool. So I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they have to. If they want to, why not get Tom Flacco from Towson?
No.
But I mean, look, he's still on the board. You got 4 through 7. Definitely get him in the 7th round, man. I'm telling you.
Did Joe retire, or is somebody going to try to let Joe play this year?
Yeah, he's still on. He's a free agent.
He's going to retire. There ain't nobody picking up Joe.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to retire. I think no one's going to pick him up, but he might be one of those guys that get
like a mid-season joint.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You have Joe out there. You have Cam out there. You have.
I don't think you can put Joe Flacco in the same discussion as Cam Newton and James Winston.
No. My point is that he has competition. They're all these.
Sam Bradford competition for Joe Flacco at this point.
That's
the dude that should retire.
You have Joe. I mean, you have all these free agent QBs out there. Like, the markets is not a good market for him out. Right now.
So he's washed. Good wash though. What do you guys think about The Last Dance?
Well, I think
real quick, before we get into that though, let's talk about still stick with football. Your boy came back. He's left wrestling. Traded from New England down to Tampa Bay. Gronkowski, man. What about that offense?
They got some pieces, but do they have a quarterback?
Oh, stop it. Here we go.
We don't know.
Are you serious right now?
I look at the numbers, and the numbers say he's going in the wrong direction.
You in the number now? That dude didn't have weapons. You want to talk about somebody who didn't have as many weapons?
Yeah, you're right. He didn't have weapons last year, but
yeah, that dude. I don't even. Besides people either having attitude problems or drugs again, he really didn't have anybody to throw to.
No, they were supposed to have Antonio Brown, but we saw how that went off
and they had Josh Gordon.
And Josh Gordon is,
exactly.
I need that's not the same Josh Gordon. I don't know about the quarterback. I think the Buccaneers' problem, honestly speaking, could be the quarterback. I think the quarterback is on the wrong side of the hill. And if you just look at the important metrics at quarterback, the yards per attempt, they're coming down now with these weapons, with Godwin and Evans. They get the
O.J. Howard.
Did they draft a running back?
Hold on, let me check. I got him right here.
They definitely
they got the tackle. Yeah, they got Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt.
So they get the kid from Vanderbilt. So they got some pieces on offense. They still got O.J. Howard. They got to figure out a way to move him. I think Gronk is a locker room guy. I think he plays a little bit more than Jason Witten played last year.
Oh yeah, well, definitely.
I think I don't think he is a top 10 tight end for fantasy, not in my opinion. I think he's just a good guy to have there as Tom Brady's boy. I think they wanted to show that there was a problem in New England, Bill Belichick driving out players. So I think that's what it comes down to. But if this team is going to win, it's going to be because of Brian Leftwich, Bruce Arians, and Godwin and Evans, not because of Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
Okay. Man, you're just totally dismissing arguably the greatest QB of our generation.
I'm not dismissing him. Everybody gets old. You know what I'm saying? He's old now.
Yeah, but and you're right. I mean, he's definitely on the downside of his career. But I mean, that being said, he still showed the ability to get the job done. You know what I mean? Like,
if he doesn't, he's not going to throw for 5,000 yards like Jameis did.
No.
Well, he's also not going to throw 30 interceptions either.
That's true too.
He's definitely not going to do that.
He'll get more wins.
Yes.
The Buccaneers are a playoff team. I think they can win. I think they can win the South. They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
But it would be funny though, because the Super Bowl is in Tampa next year. It would be funny though if Tom goes down there and gets them to the Super Bowl in Tampa. Man, that would be something.
They won't be playing the Patriots though.
Definitely not going to be playing the Patriots.
No, they will not be playing.
They'll be playing Kansas City again.
No.
I have a feeling. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The AFC look like it's going to be tough for a couple years. Trying to get through Lamar and Mahomes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just when we get rid of Brady, man, we got Mahomes and popping up, and now we in Baltimore gotta get through him. So it's going to be tough, man.
Imagine being a Knicks fan. You have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Now, that's a perfect segue.
Imagine being a Knicks fan, have to deal with Michael Jordan and LeBron James and
So ESPN's The Last Dance documentary, which is the Bulls last season, they moved it up, luckily, because we're going to get this later on in the summer, I think around June.
Yeah.
But they moved it up since what else we got to watch. Probably broke all types of records. Was on this past Sunday, episodes 1 and 2 out of a 10-episode arc. First thoughts?
Well, you know me, I surprised you last week. And as the only Jordan fan on the podcast right now, I told you I had no interest in this. I felt like, I lived through this. I already know, I know this Mike story. I've seen it all, heard it all. That being said, I did enjoy it. The first, I sent you a text, right? Like the first.
God, dude, I wanted to kill you, yo. That was just like, yo, it's boring. That's a half hour in.
I was like, tell me something.
2 hour show.
But I really started getting interested the second episode. Like when they would start talking about the Scottie Pippen stuff, I totally forgot, that this dude was not getting paid.
No, he wasn't. And Mike didn't have a problem with that. Mike just cared about winning that last championship that season when he was making $32 million. So I think that stuck out, the Scotty thing with his salary. I also think, just going back to see that young Michael Jordan, you forget how good a basketball player he was. And he's dropping 60 points and not shooting no threes. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I will say, I did forget that he scored 49 points the day before he scored the 63. Like, man.
Yeah, he was giving it to them.
You're talking about that Celtics?
Yeah.
That was a great little 2-minute piece, but they was playing LL Cool J, I'm Bad.
That was nice.
Yeah, well, first of all, they were playing way too much New York hip hop. They played, I think, Biggie for Michael. They don't. That's not. Don't put New York stuff with him. I don't care if he's born there or not.
Hey man, anytime you can squeeze some Biggie in, man, I ain't gonna.
Yeah, not for him. That's
your hate is a little bit stronger than mine, huh?
Oh, do you have no idea? You have no idea how much. I wasn't even that big of a basketball fan growing up, honestly, but my mom was a Knicks fan. So I'd watch the games with her, and I was not a fan of that 23 dude.
No, that for people that grew up here rooting for the New York Knicks, it was very painful those nights. You know what I'm saying? You think of that game 5 at the Garden, some of those that game 7 in Chicago, some of those classic games, and you're just like, do I really want to relive this? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I thought it was excellent. So far, episodes 1 and 2 very well done. Looking forward for 3 and 4 this weekend.
Yeah, well, 3 is going to be on Rodman, so that right there,
ride and a half on that Jack, on that fool right there. Oh, where'd Kevin go? He left. Oh, I thought Kevin moved out. I thought he couldn't take the heat.
Well, MJ stuff does make my stomach go bad.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, I mean, I was looking forward to it because, it's so long ago. I don't have as many harsh feelings as I did back then, towards him.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually saw him cry twice now. I've got past his Hall of Fame inductions where he's, flying people in and dissing them. So, seeing a different side of him, being older, just kind of like letting those things go. I was really interested to see how they were going to film or portray this whole thing. And honestly, I like the very beginning of it because they were talking about the cocaine boys and stuff in the locker room. He walked I didn't know, not being an NBA fan, I really didn't know all that stuff was going on. Like I really didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. You know, and they, you know, like I said, they covered his points, you know, against the Celtics, and you know, the time he broke his foot or whatever it was. And it, you know, you forget all these things, is because I mean, when he came into the league, we were like 9 years old. You know what I mean? We're young.
You know, when I started watching him when he came back from the injury.
Okay.
I remember they was talking about when he came back, and I remember he was going on that run, and I was a little boy then, like, you know what I'm saying now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, all right, well, you got to check it out. And started watching that series against the Celtics, and it was like, this is crazy. And then we've been watching ever since, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Until even as a wizard in his 40s, you know what I'm saying? He was still putting up buckets.
Yeah, man.
It was time for him to go though.
Yeah, 55 at the Garden still.
Yeah, but with 2 small sneakers on.
Yeah. So my question going just about MJ himself. Whose career did he ruin the most by dominating during the time he dominated?
Reggie Miller.
Think so?
Yeah, they couldn't get, because I know it was one year Indiana was really good, and they stopped. I know they blocked the Knicks. They blocked Indiana.
Well, yeah. I mean, they blocked Charles Barkley.
Malone. He didn't win the championship.
John Stockton. I think there's only one answer to this question, but go ahead, Corey.
The only team I was going to say real quick, the only team he didn't block was Houston.
Yeah, well, because he was gone.
Because he was there, he wasn't there. He was that's that year he was suspended for gambling.
Exactly.
At least they're probably not going to tell you that part of the story in the documentary. I'm sure Michael Jordan just didn't stop playing basketball to go play baseball. I'm almost certain that was a gambling suspension. I think it hurt Patrick Ewing the most. I think it hurt Patrick Ewing the most. Yeah.
You don't hear Patrick watching as much Patrick, and I remember, and I was a Big East fan growing up too. So I watched more college basketball than I did NBA. I mean, because Big Mondays was you got, you know, Georgetowns, the St. John's, the Villanovas, you know, UConns, the Syracuse. That was the hub, man. That was my
Syracuse game to this day might be ESPN's highest rated college sports event to this day. I think with Alabama LSU from last year being second.
Oh yeah, those games were huge though, and the personalities, the coaches, Thompsons, Louis Carnesakas. You got even when Pitino was up at Providence.
Yep, they had a great crew, but Patrick has been, he, like you said, if it's not college, it's been the pros.
Yep.
And so, he's been shut down a lot by Michael Jordan. Charles Barkley too would have been a champion.
Yeah, but see, the whole thing is when you talk about great players or position or centers or whatever, people always still mention Charles Barkley.
Yeah,
right. People mention Karl Malone because he's one of the highest scorers ever in the NBA. No one talks about Patrick that much anymore.
No, you just remember him getting dunked on.
You just remember him getting dunked on and being posterized or missing that layup. I don't want to relive. Those type of things. Patrick was one of the most dominant players in the NBA. And I think it would have happened to Hakeem if Hakeem didn't win those two, because Hakeem was the first draft pick in Jordan's class. If Hakeem didn't win those two championships, we probably wouldn't even pay any attention to him either. There wouldn't be no dream shake,
Yeah.
They would have forgot about it. And I think Patrick's fadeaways, everything Patrick did to put that team on his back, I think gets overlooked because he got dominated by Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everything he's done was looked at that way. B, what about you? Growing up, did you have a specific team you rooted for?
I was just a Jordan fan.
Oh God.
Growing up, I was all about baseball. It's funny. Growing up, I was all about baseball, and I was a Dolphins fan because I watched Dan Marino in the '84 Super Bowl, and after that, I started following Marino. But when it came to basketball, I didn't have a team. I love Michael Jordan, man. He's the one that got me into basketball.
You didn't follow the Baltimore Bullets? Down at the Royal Farms Arena. Well, you didn't have a football.
But you know what team I really like though, honestly. When I wasn't rooting for the Bulls, man, I was rooting for the Magic, man, with Shaq and Penny and Dennis Scott. Oh my gosh,
Nick Anderson.
Yeah, Nick Anderson. I love those Magic teams. Remember the 30 for 30 that came out? I think it was last year.
That was a good one.
I love that, man, because that was one of my favorite teams. I remember I used to play that team. What was it on NBA Live or whatever? I used to. Man, I love that Magic team, man.
I want to share this with y'all. A picture that I got when I was at a picture I took when I was at the let me see if I can find it. The All-Star game.
Which one, from this year?
Yeah, from this past year, from the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, I did see you were out there.
Yeah, if I can find out how to do this, and it's interesting. It talks about what we're talking about.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll go get my other. I'll get my 2 trophies from winning the fantasy league twice. If you want me, I can do that while we're waiting too.
Why are you bringing up those old trophies, Kevin? Why are you bringing up those old trophies?
Oh no, mine was from last year. You remember that one?
Oh, you took my advice on Lamar.
Oh, of course I had Lamar.
Yeah, I was all over Lamar. I was one of the main people discussing. Let me see. I think I don't know. I can't see if I can get this right.
Did you get dunked on by somebody out there? Or what?
So it's the Scottie Pippen, Patrick Ewing, but they did it. They just have the uniforms.
Oh, okay.
Players, it's the uniforms, just the uniforms, and it was I forgot what they called it, but they did a good job with that one. So that was a dope pick that I saw when I was out there, and it was a good time though. You know what I'm saying? So Barack Obama was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So Barack Obama, just per conversation. Just so Barack Obama.
I have a question with y'all with this documentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, like I told you at first, I was like, I lived through all this, but there's a generation of basketball fans that grew up on Kobe, grew up on LeBron, didn't even get to see Jordan play. Do you think this will give this generation like a true, just a better idea of who Jordan was and just why we consider him, a lot of people consider him the greatest to ever play it?
I don't know. One thing I noticed, my son knows Michael Jordan. I mean, and you know what I'm saying? Never seen him play a game, but he's watched him on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
My daughter down to 9 years old will be like, I know. I remember. Well, I don't know Michael Jordan. She'll be like, that's the dude. That's the most famous basketball player ever. So I think a lot of these kids know Michael Jordan, and they respect what they've heard and the little bit they've seen via YouTube and stuff like that. So I think this does bring, I think they're already connected to it, but I think they can go really inside of it now.
The thing about Jordan is not just his name as far as a basketball player. All these kids know are sneakers. Like they may not know, so then they'll just can Google who these Jordan. I gotta get these Jordans. These Jordans come out. These Jordan 5s. These Jordan 10s. Okay, this dude was, and they can find out from him because there's still such a huge marketing thing with his name even till this day. He has his own brand.
Yeah, he's a shoe mogul.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So he's known, if not just by that, then they could go back and research who the person is. There's not too many people you could say, this person was great, go back and look. That's still relevant as far as commercial.
Yeah, but
his commercial reach is global.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. But I think, what we're going to see with The Last Dance is how much it was a difficult man he was to get along with. A lot of those stories haven't been told. They need to be.
Yeah, well, he had to come out and explain some things. Well, I don't want y'all looking at me. But again, from that Hall of Fame speech, I know Brian and I talked about that numerous times, because I wasn't a Jordan fan before then, but just as he's a petty individual.
He's dumb petty.
If you look up petty, his picture is right next to it. It could be GOAT and petty, and his pictures could be next to
the
both.
story is the dude didn't put him on the varsity team. He put him on the freshman team. And he's on the varsity team the next year. They're like, dude, what are you doing? You missed like 2 months of basketball. Relax, son. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, with that dude's ultra, you can see how competitive he is. He didn't want to lose at anything.
Yeah,
I think even David Falk was saying they could be playing cards or ping pong or checker. He did not want to lose.
That's the attitude that most of these guys have. You definitely saw a lot of that with Kobe Bryant as well.
Yeah.
LeBron James does not have that. LeBron James can stomach a loss.
Yeah, well, yeah, he can, but to me, he's the thing about LeBron is, and maybe that's how Magic was too. I don't know, but certain people, I mean, all of us hate losing. It's just there's something about it. Some people are able to handle certain things better.
Yeah,
and like LeBron is a totally different cat, but he is an all around. He is not anything out there he can't do. But
well,
no,
you make a good point because you being a Met and a Redskin fan, you're able to handle losing pretty well. So that's a trait that you and LeBron did.
You mean as not a front runner? This is true. But you have a point there. So handling losing is something that I'm used to.
Yes.
So, but that's what made. But I love LeBron. LeBron, I think brought me back into basketball.
I'm an LBJ guy. I think he's the greatest of all time. And if he's not the greatest basketball player, he's the greatest basketball individual. Like just his whole thing, you know what I'm saying? From the time he got to Miami, after that first year in Miami, when he stopped being a heel and when he became, the ultimate face in sports, then I'm like, you know what? I am a LeBron James supporter. I think it was going to be tough for him to win a championship this year. I think Giannis and that crew was ready to go. But
but you gotta get past the Clippers, man. That team, that bench, the Laker bench, nowhere near that Clipper bench.
No, they're a deep team, but they got LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody believe me, this podcast, if anybody believes in LBJ, it's me.
Yeah,
no, you're not an LBJ
guy.
It took him a minute.
Well, no, I didn't. Okay. So I didn't like LeBron at first because he used to take out the Wizards every year in the playoffs.
No doubt.
Then when he bolted for Miami, I was pissed off even more because I didn't like the way he did it. I think like he dissed Cleveland on national TV. I thought that was whack.
Right. He's admitted that was the biggest mistake of his career. He also said that night we made $3.5 million for the boys club.
Right. I understand. All right, but hold on. Then he went back to Cleveland. Yes. Then I started rooting for him because I felt like, he's trying to right a wrong. He's going back to the city. He's going to bring him a championship. So what was it, 4 years he was in Cleveland? I started rooting for him. And then even with the Lakers, I'm not like a LeBron fan, but I have a lot of respect for him. One thing I will always say about LeBron, though, and this is what I have respect for him the most, is I remember in high school when they were showing his games on ESPN and they were hyping this guy. And they were saying he was going to be the next great thing. And I just remember thinking, man, why are they putting this on this kid? Like, there's no way this dude is going to be able to live up to all the hype that they're putting on him. And not only has he lived up to it, I mean, he has surpassed it. I mean, and I just respect that so much because I just remember I was like, why are they doing this to this kid, man? Like, there's no way he's going to be able to live up to this. So.
Now he's got it done. I thought the going back to Cleveland, obviously, the probably what will end up being the defining moment of his career. Coming back from 3-1 to beat the Golden State Warriors. And because that Golden State Warrior team, they win that championship. We're talking about them as the greatest team of all time.
Yep.
They don't win that championship because they lost to LeBron James.
Yep. No, man, but I've always respected his game and I love watching him play. Even when I was rooting against him, I was just watching him at all like, man, this guy's so good.
Yeah, to me, he's the best all-around player the NBA has ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's why again, I'm not the whole MJ debate, I'm over it. You can say MJ's the best individual player, but if I had to mold a basketball player who can do everything, it's LeBron.
I would say MJ is the most dominant player I've ever seen. I'll put it to you like that. When I think of just pure dominance, I think of Michael Jordan.
I know one thing, though. The one thing I wouldn't want LeBron doing at the end of a game is shooting a free throw. I'd definitely get that to Mike. Left-handed, right-handed, eyes closed. I don't want LeBron shooting free throws. Not one bit. So, but yeah, we'll see. I can't wait to see what happened to this Dennis Rodman thing. That guy. Can you imagine Dennis Rodman now with social media?
Oh my God.
that would even MJ. Any of those dudes, man.
MJ, yeah, getting caught in Atlanta. I mean, if social media was on like how it is, Michael Jordan would have been out the league because of his gambling problems. I hope they get into that.
I don't think they're going to delve.
I think they are.
You think so?
They are. Yeah, I think they are.
It's going to be.
You can't, because my thing is you can't, if you're going to tell the Michael Jordan story, which essentially is what they're doing. I mean, he went back to high school and college. You got to talk about it. You got to talk about all this stuff, man.
Do you believe that the year of baseball was a gambling suspension? Yes or no?
I think those 2 years were definitely a cover up for something. More than likely gambling. Yes, I do think there was dude. You just don't leave. Come on, man. Everybody's talking about how competitive this guy is. He just won 3 championships. You don't think he wants to get a 4th and a 5th, and you just want to roll out? Like, I get it. Yeah, you want to play baseball to see if you could do it, but no, man. That was definitely a cover up for probably the gambling. Yep.
And what about the flu game? Do you think it was a hangover or you think it was food poisoning?
Wait a minute. I never heard about that. So what is that the rumor?
The flu game, I've heard 2 rumors that it was insanely hungover. My thing is, if you were hungover, how was just one person just hungover? But it was like, well, he snuck to Las Vegas the night before, and he got blasted, and that's when he came back sick. I cannot.
Come on, Corey. I can't believe that, man.
I've also heard that Michael Jordan used to do wild stuff. I've also heard Michael Jordan would leave the team and go to Las Vegas and come back before shoot around. You know what I'm saying?
So you're basically saying this dude was
he was out of control. He was doing what he wanted to do, but he could do it because he was coming out dropping 30, 35. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing was the food poisoning could have been it too. That the hotel poisoned him.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put that past people in Utah. I would probably go with that one more than anything else. But yeah, no, I've heard those stories too. But the thing is, you can't take away his greatness on the court. But speaking of greatness, I also just heard, I think ESPN had it out, that Kobe documented his last season.
Yep, exactly. I saw that too.
And man, and unfortunately, he definitely won't be around. Do you think we're going to see that in the light of day anytime soon?
I would think it would be sooner than they probably was going to hold it, but
I think that's up to Vanessa, honestly.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I hope we get to see it, and I would look forward to that one, because the thing is, I wasn't a Kobe fan. You remember? I know Brian and I used to have. We were talking about this for a long time. How Kobe transformed from who he was in the beginning, where he's just this, prick, so to speak, this young, kid coming around, just being a jerk, going on to all of a sudden now he's just the Mamba. Like, he had his own little moniker, and he was like this old guy everybody loved.
Yeah. And you know me, I was never a Kobe fan, never was a Kobe fan, but I still, to this day, I told you, I think the coolest thing, man, was Kobe going out, man, his last game scoring 60 points. To me, that is just one of the coolest things in sports, man. Your last game, you dropped 60 points.